Hi, let's spend today looking at some out-of-the-box features for sales order processing that you may have forgotten about or never heard about in the first place. I have an invoice pulled up in my sales transaction entry window, and let's take a look at a few of the pieces of information in here. On the document number line, I'm going to click on the blue arrow to open the expansion window. And one of the things I want to point out is the GL reference line. If you have your transactions post to the general ledger in detail, this GL reference line will follow this transaction into the general ledger. So that's an interesting thing you can do. Down below you can also see all the other documents that relate to this document. So if this invoice came from an order which came from a quote, we'd see the order in the quote here as well, with the ability to drill down back to the original document. Now let's move into the customer ID area. We'll click on the blue arrow or the expansion button to open up this window. A couple things I want to point out here. First of all, the ship to address. You know you can pull up any existing address that already exists for that customer, but you could also click on the expansion button here and change the shipping address for this invoice only. It will not save to the customer card, but it will save it for this invoice and all transactions that are created from this invoice. Now you'll notice I have the shipping method set to UPS. We'll be looking at a little bit more about how we can deal with the shipping method in a minute. Now we also have some inquiry windows available here. So from the sales transaction window I can look at the customer payment summary inquiry. I also have some other inquiries, the year, period, transaction by customer, that's the activity button, or just a customer button as well. I can also get to user-defined transactions here. So I can enter in user-defined fields for this particular transaction in sales order processing. You'll notice that I have some dates and some string fields, but I also have some lookup fields. Now I realize I'm missing an item for my lookup field, so I want to add that now. So I'm just going to close all that out. And under Setup, Sales Transaction Entry, I will go to User-Defined Fields, and on my User-Defined Field Entry window, I'll click on this expansion button, and I'm going to add Expo as one of my options. And I'll click OK. And now back in the Sales Transaction window, I'll click on User Define and do a lookup on my sales transaction, and you notice they're in alphabetical order and there's Expo, so I can select it for this document. Now there's one other area here called tracking numbers, and because I used UPS as my shipping method, now I have the ability to actually go to the website and look up the tracking information for this particular order. And I set that up using custom links. Now what I'm going to do right now is open up my Explorer, and you can see I have the UPS page pulled up. So now I have my tracking number highlighted, and when I click here I see my custom link I created for UPS. I'll click again, and you notice it will open up the tracking page for this item. Very powerful. I'm going to click OK here and close that out. These are just a couple of the things you can do with sales order processing right out of the box. It's a very, very powerful invoicing system. That's why a lot of people call it advanced invoicing. Hope this helps.